All right, back again. Now that we've had a look at Prospero and Felix being usurped, losing their positions, the thing they want most in the world is revenge. All right, but what we build in, what the composers build into these stories is this idea of forgiveness. All right, and we'll have a look as to why certainly Shakespeare does that. So in terms of contextual, one more time, because we think about the context. All right, the idea that Shakespeare linked this Renaissance idea of humanism, but also, the big moral compass that is Christianity. So the Christian values of forgiveness, compassion, virtue, all of that stuff really comes out in Prospero and that idea of forgiveness. But certainly he's doing it because it's the right thing to do, not just because God will smote him if he doesn't. All right, so initially when everybody pops up on the island, at this hour lie at my mercy all mine enemies. He's so excited. At his mercy are all his enemies. He can do what he wants to do with them. And if now I court not but omit, my fortunes will ever after I droop. Basically, if I don't do it now, I'm going to regret this forever. So he's very excited initially when the court gets to the island that he's going to get his revenge. All right. And he sees himself as the wronged Duke of Milan, Prospero. All right. So in terms of usurpation, you could use that quote as well, because this is how he, introduces himself. Now, in terms of forgiveness, initially, we see this idea once he has the ceremony with the mask ceremony with Ferdinand and Miranda, and he makes this beautiful speech. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. This idea that he actually sees his not his demise. He sees that he's achieved in life sort of what he needs to now. His plan has sort of come to a head, and he sees the end of his life sort of coming. So his desire for revenge sort of abates. So then we have the confrontation with Ariel. That Ariel says that even good old Lord Gonzalo, his tears run down his beard like winter's drops, which is a simile that I super duper love. And it's Ariel's sort of plea that convinces Prospero to end the misery. If you now beheld them, your affections would become tender. All right. If you saw the pain and suffering that these people were going through, you would forgive them as well. And then Prospero realizes, and he says, the rarer action is in virtue than in vengeance. All right. And this is this idea of humanism, or Christian humanism, that Shakespeare has put in there, which is lovely. Now, once he's actually done that, he realizes that he needs to give up what it was that was distracting him and making him this person that didn't notice what was going on. So I'll break my staff, I'll drown my book, but this rough magic I here abjure, I give up. All right, this idea of rough as a verb suggests that it's violent, it's problematic, and he's giving up this art because that's what distracted him in the first place. And now my charms are all overthrown, and what strength I have's mine own, which means that it's now me. It's not magic, it's not trickery, it's not anything to do with that. It's me. And that's at the epilogue when Prospero is talking to the audience, and he says, "This is just me. You need to take me as I am." All right. So that's a beautiful idea of forgiveness. Take me as I am. All right. In terms of Felix, he wanted revenge. He longed for it. He daydreamed about it. High modality language. He'd been chewing over his revenge for 12 years. Suddenly, revenge is so close he can actually taste it. It tastes like steak rare, this extended metaphor here of chewing it over and thinking about it. Now, once he gets his revenge, such as it was, he seems that he's not entirely 100% happy with it, but his enemies had suffered, which had been a pleasure. And the only part we have in terms of Hag-Seed of forgiveness, and we do question whether Felix forgives such as Prospero does, then Felix had strewn forgiveness around. He still has his USB with, or in the cloud with all the stuff that he can hold over Sal and Tony. But the idea that he had strewn this forgiveness around, hasn't done anything worse that he could do for them. He could have, used that and really ruined them, but he just held that over them. So we could certainly suggest that there is forgiveness, and there is that connection of realizing that, you don't have to go so far. And even at the end of the intertextuality with the Tempest, he'll break his staff, he'll drown his book because it's time for younger people to take over. He also realizes that, he's coming to the end of his working life, and he needs to, get over it and move on. But everything is ephemeral, he reminds himself. So there's that allusion to the Tempest and to Prospero. Cool.